Hello and welcome to a stream, one of them. Yeah, I've not managed to do much in the way of stuff generally recently, but this just came out and I spent yesterday and a bit today playing it, figuring out how to play it, how the various systems work, and I'm definitely not fully versed in it yet, but yeah, I like what I've seen so far. There are certainly some refinements, I think, that could be made, and I've noticed one or two small, mostly graphical bugs. I'm sure there's probably other things lurking in there as well, but yeah, it's pretty good so far, and it actually has some pretty good in-game tutorials to guide you through as well. And especially compared to Victoria 2, there's a lot less... there's a lot less jankiness. I think it's a lot less opaque than a lot of the systems in Victoria 2. I played something like 35, 40 hours in Victoria 2 and I'd still have not much of a clue how that game works. So yeah, this on the other hand, I think they've struck a good balance of keeping the feel of the more kind of social and economic simulation side of things. And they've also made some definite improvements to the warfare compared to the Victoria 2 as well. Anyway, I won't continue with the games I have been playing. What I am going to do is I am going to see, and I've actually tried this out, could I conquer the world with a finish? I mean, presumably. Yeah, the Grand Duchy of Finland does exist as like a Russian protectorate, so you'd have to break free from Russia first. But yeah, you could do it. But yeah, we're going to try releasing Scotland and see how I do as Scotland. And yeah, so far I've played a bit of Chile, which is one of the kind of recommended. It's like one of the tutorial countries, basically, where it's like, here's how there's got a bit of a room for expansion to your south. There's a possibility with warfare with some of your neighbours, but there's also a decent amount of resources and whatnot, so you can get a handle on the economic side as well. But yeah, what I'm going to try and do is see if I can release Scotland and then play as Scotland. So we're starting as the UK, because the UK obviously at the moment is like, Scotland does not exist independently, so we need to figure out, how do I release nations? I know I've seen it somewhere. I'm still not quite 100% certain where everything is. Nice, Latty. Well, hopefully you had nicer weather there today than we had. I might have to wrestle a cat off the desk at some point. He's not been out that much today, and so subsequently he's taking out all his energy on me. And I have not been enjoying it that much. Right, there we go. Release subject. Release either as a subject or an independent country. Well, we're going to release it as an independent country. I'm going to click play as Scotland and we're going to see what happens. So there we go. Okay, bam. So we have an independent Scotland. I mean, there's absolutely no historical reason for this whatsoever, but I mean, you can basically at any point switch country if you're feeling like a challenge, or you're wanting to try something different, so you don't even have to reload the save to do that, so that's a nice touch. But yeah, I mean, obviously as Britain you can release a bunch of stuff, but there's lots of countries that you could release to form other countries. And there's also some really tiny countries that you can have a go at for in a special challenge, like Sikkim over here, or one I played as, actually one of the ones I did do of Krakow, which is actually a subject of Austria. But that's quite an interesting one for just purely trying to build up the economic side and get lots of immigration going, because you can actually get pretty good living conditions compared to your neighbours and basically suck in a whole bunch of neighbouring population. and you have access to the Austrian market as well. Now, talking of markets, I'm guessing we're going to be... No, we have our own market. Okay, so we have our own... that's... It can... I don't quite understand how it works, but I've seen markets spread and shift. So in the Chile game, for instance, the British market ended up encompassing a big chunk of South America as well. So somehow that can happen. Like I said, there's still a lot of stuff that I don't really understand yet. So let's take a look at Scotland, what we've got. We don't have any active research, so let's get that going at the moment. I don't know how much we're going to need to go with military things. I mean, England might be a bit belligerent, they might not be. Let's go with, I guess, something that's going to help. I mean, distillation we will need, because, you know, we've got to get that whiskey going. That's obviously going to be very important. I don't think we can actually have iron brew unless somebody mods that into the game as like a trade good. I don't even know how moddable trade goods are at the moment, but I presume that's something that people will be able to do. Right, we have a fairly hefty deficit. We have no reserves whatsoever, so that's going to automatically get me to start taking out loans, but we also have quite a high credit limit, so that's not something I need to immediately worry about, but I am going to have to probably just like bung up taxes, bung down wages for the time being, and that's obviously lessened the damage a bit, but we're still a bit in debt for the time being. So yeah, industry-wise, let's have a look-see. So we have one food processing industry, we have glassworks, we have 3 urban centres all in the lowlands. That's not surprising. Yeah, this is going to be our main population belt here, although actually having broken free, I mean, is there a way to see demographics, or do we just have to click on the individual states? Because it wasn't really until later in the 19th century that you really started to have lots of depopulation. So at the moment, I think, I don't know if breaking free from England is going to have, or having released Scotland from England is going to stop the Highland clearances being a thing. I guess we'll see. But yeah, we actually have a pretty decent population. Our GDP is not amazing, but that's I think fairly respectable. It's probably because we haven't run forward at all yet. There's a lot of these things haven't caught up yet. It might take like a month before it ticks over. Or no, right, there we go. There's the populations come up. Right, so we have a bunch of warnings here. Unhealthy economy, yes we know. Declared interests, low government legitimacy, we probably want to fix fairly soon. We are a constitutional monarchy. Sadly, I can't rename them to be a McJedi. We'll just have to pretend. I really wish there was a way to customize that, but yeah, we don't have... We're just straight into a monarchy. We're not like I was hoping we might copy over from being a HM's government, like a constitutional monarchy, and instead we're just a straight up monarchy. I don't know, well, we are a constitutional monarchy, but I guess somehow that's not quite the same. I don't know. Anyway, we have mostly... I've seen a lot more positive modifiers than not. We seem to have additional mortality modifiers on some things, but I wonder if that's because we're using like explosives or whatever. Anyway, construction we'll get to. A whole bunch of... like, we just severed ourselves. So we're going to have to sort out the economy. Expensive goods. Right, what is our trade capacity? 660, that is not that high. And we are actually quite a small market so far as well. We'll have to fix that. Do let me know if the sound levels are okay. I'm still using my somewhat busted headphones, which only work in one ear, so it's a little harder for me to tell. Yes, so... fish whaling stations... I wonder if we can... if we declare an interest, if we... I can remember how one does that. It's like a political lens. Production... Still learning where everything is. Right, so we might be able to... and this is possibly a bit mad, but we might be able to actually... we might be able to set out and do some colonising! Which I don't know if that's necessarily a great idea. We can do 2 declared interests, but it's a good way to... I don't know if I want to do that. I might just sort of play it tall, as it were, rather than try and play a colonial game and be dealing with overseas things. But I guess we'll see. We'll leave that for now then. Yeah, so right, we will want to actually, while we're looking at things, diplomatic plays. Can we increase from here, or do we have to do that on like the politics? No, I want to diplomacy. No, that's there. Okay, interactions. Improve relations. We don't... Okay, we're not starting off with like negative relations or anything like that. Okay. So, okay. So, yeah, we want to... I guess take a look at our industries and see if we can unsnarl things a bit. We also are going to need some more bureaucratic capacity, and I don't know if we're using any... we're not using any at the moment. For some reason the Highlands are an unincorporated state. That's a bit odd. So that's going to be political lens. And we do have... let's go with that for the lowlands, which takes up some of my authority cap. And... state actions, incorporate state, already incorporated. Wait, so why is it saying... Oh, wait, I am... it does say incorporated state. Okay, I'm just not looking correctly. Right, so... I am slightly annoyed we can't change the dynasty name, but never mind. I'm sure there'll be a DLC for that at some point. Okay, so... we need admin cap, don't we? How do we get admin cap again? Government administration. Alright, we're currently... administrative... Let's go to a secular administration and... that's going to be expensive. But we need more admin cap. Let's build one in the Highlands. Okay. Right, let's ignore that for now. Military we can possibly... 15 and 8 conscripts, that's not terrible. Skirmish infantry, let's downgrade that to line infantry. Yeah, we're just gonna make things a little bit cheaper for now. So our troops are going to be a bit less capable, but I'm not planning on rushing into war or anything. So let's leave that alone. I guess we might need the Navy for like trade control or something. I've not really done much with Navy so far, so yeah, I don't quite 100% know how that works. Right, so we can markets. What are we doing for? Alright, the problem is with trying to get additional. Oh, actually, that's the thing that's draining. Yeah, isn't it? Institutions. So colonial affairs, we can put that down. Social security is at a basic level. Education will keep where it is. Law enforcement, we might actually step that down. Education is, I think, the thing that directly affects literacy, and literacy affects your like your research rate, essentially. Yeah, Manti, it's something I've been eyeing with interest for a while. I wasn't quite sure how they would manage to pull it off, but yeah, no, it's quite good. Right, so food industries. It might be easier if I look at these things on a by state basis. Some of the interface things are a little bit clunky so far. Like you can kind of see everything from here, but it's actually easier to go and look at the states and see which of your businesses, or at least I think it is, to see what's making money, what's not making money. It would be, I think there's definitely some improvements to be made here in terms of being able to look through and see market information from your production screens. I mean, it might be there is some way of doing it, and I just don't know what it is yet. But yeah, so we've got a lot of things that are not really making money. And things that we could maybe downsize. Right, if we skip, actually let's skip back through to that. So we're building admin in the Highlands, so let's take a look at ways we can save money for the time being. Services. Now, like this is a thing, right? Because there's a lot of things like transport and services. I've just kind of folded into the market screen. So if I want to see services, I can see it here. But I think actually there's somewhere else to see it as well, and I can't remember where. Government. Not sure who'd have the most. I can actually try and fix that a bit. Who's going to give me more legitimacy? You can have kind of like mixed governments, as it were. So in fact, we can do that, but that's going to increase the number of radicals that we have, and radicals are people that will cause you problems potentially. But anyway, that's dramatically boosted the legitimacy of the current government. That's our king. I really wish we could rename it. Right, we're on the details screen. Yeah, that's one of the bugs I've noticed. You click go to details screen on any of those things that have that, and it just doesn't. Hey, Fu. So... Oh, you can have him be a army commander, apparently. No, I don't think there is any way to rename them. That's a bit of a pity. The character models are a bit, like, some of the poses are a bit weird as well. Anyway, yeah, Yeah, what was I trying to look at? Services. I keep getting sidetracked. It's somewhere. I'm still in the process of figuring out what is where. We could switch to cheaper construction methods as well, but I don't think that's going to make that big of a difference. There's some way of seeing it that is not just on the market screen. Right, at the moment, there we go. Right, services. We're producing 227, we're consuming 192, so we actually don't need as much. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, okay, this is a bit finicky at the moment, so we can like downgrade market stalls, and that will bump up the cost of services, but that will also save me some cash. We'll leave streetlights alone because that's too many services taken away. I'm sort of downgrading all our productions at the moment, but I'm just trying to stabilise the economy to begin with. So yeah, if we can do that, that doesn't involve like hammering, like closing our. Now this we won't change. We could prioritise groceries, but we'll stay with stills because we're gonna go with whiskey as one of our signature products, and you know, obviously you need it's the well-known secret that with iron brew being made from girders that you need to distill the girders down to make the iron brew. So we need lots of distilleries. Yes. Grain, how are we for grain? We're actually underproducing at the moment, so we'll leave that alone in terms of production. That's solely that, but we could actually... You can partly put your farms into creating... so that they produce a bit of either alcohol or fruit and sugar. Iron mines, downgrade that. Apparently we do actually have... Okay, we do have one, I think, level of railway in the lowlands. Oh, they don't have Stornoway on the map! Rubbish! 0 out of 10 game. I was really hoping that the Western Isles would be a separate thing, but I bet if I try and move the capital to the Highlands, it's going to put it in bloody Inverness, isn't it? We don't want that! Not Inverness! Ugh! I was really hoping I'd be able to move my capital here, but I don't think I can. You can move capital, that's a thing. It's just, you just, like, select the state where you want it to be. I can't go, yeah, I want my capital to be there, please. So, oh well, maybe if you... like one of the mechanics is as you build up the kind of industry and services of an area, that this urban score increases, and it will actually essentially pop up new urban centres, new towns. So yeah. So what were we looking at? Oh yes. So. We're sort of downgrading a bunch of things, but at the moment we're also just trying to save money. We have... Let's making hardwood and softwood. Let's just stick with softwood at the moment. Fishing walls, simple fishing. Right, I hope this is going to do what I think it's going to do, and I'm not actually just buggering myself. I'm still very much getting the hang of this in terms of like the economic side of things. Right. We could also maybe... No, that's not worth it, is it? That's going to cost me 5. Okay. Military goods, yes. Input shortages. We can't do much about that at the moment. So, because our industry has, you know, it's purely what we've got, what we've started with, which is not bad, but yeah, it's quite a small market, so we're having to buy things in from outside, and I think that's responsible for the majority of that that price there. So yeah, we're probably going to go quite deep into loans, and we can, I think with the society tax we can alleviate that somewhat, so we'll do things like postal savings and then probably mutual funds. Probably other things over here that's useful. But I like the tax system is quite different from Victoria, but it does run on a sort of slightly... Oh, didn't mean to click that. What was I? Can't remember what I clicked on previously. Distillation, probably. Yeah. Yeah, it follows a vaguely similar sort of track, but there's no time gating in this as compared to Victoria 2. I did actually quite like the tax system in Victoria 2. You would research the groups of ideas, and then there'd be like a percentage-based chance of actual individual innovations within those idea groups then actually popping off, and it would increase over time. Oh good, the trains are actually appearing this time. Last game I played, for some reason it was just the wagons chuffing along by themselves. There's Avonmore, Aberdeen, Dundee. Where else have we got? Dumfries, Newcastle, Carlisle. Yeah, we've only got Inverness and Kirkwall as the only kind of population centres there for some reason. I do wonder if there's going to be any special mechanics with the like the only things we seem to have are North Sea fishing, so we can try and build up an export fish industry, but that's not going to be particularly high margin, I don't think. I might just try and go for what was that one? Buildings, kind of like manufactured goods. I don't know. So what are we most hurting for? Clothes. Grain. We're not producing any paper at all. These little red squares mean that, yeah, we're having to import things at high prices, basically. Okay, fabric we're okay for. Fertilizer, there's some things where we're okay. We're actually producing a little bit of oil, primarily from whaling. Overproducing wheat, liquor. Right, transport we are. I've got a decent amount of overhead there. Glass. Okay, so we can probably try and... I would like to set up some exports, but we kind of need the extra... yeah, we don't have any way to... Yeah, so we're just waiting for this to build, basically. And we're just gonna be stuck in taking loans for the meanwhile. Coal, yeah, we could probably get a coal mine queued up. I don't know if we have that much demand for coal at the moment. Yeah, 42. It's worth building a basic coal mine, like, you know, single level coal mine. Paper's the other thing that probably is worth having, because you need paper for quite a lot of stuff. Let's also... got by far, I think probably the most... Yeah, about just over double, so let's get a paper mill queued up for construction. We've only got the one... Yeah, you start off with kind of 5 construction capacity, and we've got one extra one built in the lowlands, but building extra construction capacity is quite expensive. So if we get really short on money, we can actually downgrade that. But
so be it.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of expensive. We could prioritize cargo, because at the moment, well, I think by default, railways when you build them are subsidized. We could also just do a government takeover of the railways and go for cargo prioritization for the time being. And yeah, so coal we need for that. We also need engines, so we might want to build up that as a thing as well. Tom McKeever, thank you very much for the resub. I do appreciate that. I do hope you appreciate interrupting Drax's hour-long special on Jackie Fisher. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I'm honoured. I am honoured. Is there anywhere to import wood from Russia? We might actually... is that going to be worth... maybe actually putting that back up? I mean, that considerably lowers the price of wood for other industries, but it also... yeah, I think that offsets that. It's not always easy to tell, because that looked like it was going to be a net minus. And so there's definitely more information. Like, we might put iron back up as well. Let's see if that helps. And maybe it does. The main thing we need at the moment, though, is more admin cap. Unproductive trade routes. That's actually tipped over into the negative. But that, I think that's because we upped our own production, and so it made that trade route sort of a net negative. Right, let's put the speed up a bit. We're going to get lots of messages coming up, but yeah, politically at least we have relatively stable situation. Is there any kind of laws we want to look at? Probably not, because a lot of laws end up adding institutions, and institutions cost you bureaucracy. I mean, I'm actually having to downgrade 2 of the ones at the moment. We don't even need... In fact, can we even... Like, we could colonize, but we could also just, like, remove this entirely, but more people would oppose that than actually are for it. So, yeah, like I was saying, you know, we might try and plop down a colony somewhere, but I mean... I don't know if you can even see... Like, there's not like a trade goods map, I don't think. Like an overlay for that, so you've got trade lens, but... Yeah, there's no... yeah, there's no thing that says, hey, this is... I think you can look at the individual goods and it'll put an overlay on, so if I like look at glass, that's just giving me glass prices though, that's not giving me production. That's not telling me which states are producing glass. That would be useful information, but I mean more for like raw materials. It would be very, very useful to go like, hey, coal where are places that okay, maybe that's what it is doing. Maybe it just only does that for production, for like resource production rather than okay, yeah, okay, it does do that, but only for some things. So we can see Welsh lowlands, so you can see kind of the coal fields of Britain there. That's good to know. That is very good to know. So I could look at staple goods, luxury goods. If I click on iron, for example. It would be nice if you had kind of like primary production as a thing. Grain, it's not going to tell me where grain producing regions are. Fish, it will. Yeah, this is partly me finding out how things work. Wood, it will. We could become potentially a good exporter of wood. But that's probably better if we become a manufacturer of furniture. Are there any canals? No, canals are not a thing that will specifically let you build to increase your transport capacity, which it really should. Gosh, those filthy liberals. Yeah, they'll crack down on them. Considering they're in government, it's a bit naughty of them. Yeah, probably. There probably will be a DLC where there's all the canals. Fertilizer. Are we producing fertilizer? From livestock ranches. Right, so we're producing a small amount and using a small amount, so it's not like it's worth making a fertilizer factory. But well, we were producing. Again, you know, we could like increase our output of meat, but it costs us bureaucracy to actually export it outside of our own small market. So, yeah. Right, so we're just waiting for that. We're still rather in the red. Let's take a look and see what else in the market. We don't have any tool production. What we can do, I'll tell you what we can do, which will help things. We can put taxes on specific goods which actually take up authority rather than anything else. So we find something that we can basically slap an extra tax on. So fish, but I guess because fish is a staple, it's going to cost a lot more. That's going to be 300. Yeah, they're like, I guess the luxury goods are less expensive, so things like liquor and luxury clothes, but then like grain, if you slap a tax on that, that's going to cost you a lot of authority because that's a basic thing that everybody needs. So it's kind of like an inverse sort of thing. But yeah, we'll stick one on liquor and what else can we put a tax on? Opium, that's not going to get us much. Coffee, we could tax the filthy coffee drinkers. It's really not going to bring much in though, so I don't know if that's worth it. Yeah, something that's not going to be like super expensive. Luxury clothes, maybe. Tax flour. I mean, the fact that I've put a tax on basically whiskey, surely that's going to make everyone rise up against me alone. Let's go for luxury clothes. Doesn't bring me a whole heap, but that's 2k from additional sort of sales taxes, essentially. Yeah, so chocolate. I don't know if chocolate is a good in this. I don't think it is. It might be a thing that's unlockable later on. I know, like there's things like teas and dyes and whatever that you can get from places like East Indies and spices and coffee and yeah, but I don't think chocolate is a thing. So yeah, how are we doing? So we're basically burning our way through the money we've taken out. We've taken out a single loan at the moment for 145k. And we still have about $500,000 in credit, so we're not in immediate danger, but trying to get back in the positive to stabilise things is definitely a priority. So, yeah. We really just need that that thing to finish there. Oh, let's take a look at that actually. So we can see there the prices for goods dropping, which I guess means increased demand. I'm not, like I said, not fully there with what all the different indicators and things are. What's the goal of the game? It's fairly open. Well, like a lot of the Paradox grand strategy ones are. Maybe, I mean, Crusader Kings 2 and 3 have got that real focus on roleplay, but or even just the character-driven nature of it. But at the end of the day, what you do is ultimately up to you in terms of what kind of end goal you aim for. This is more akin to EU4 in that it's more kind of abstracted, but yeah, I mean, in terms of apparently Conservative Party one, so let's actually just check. That means in terms of our government legitimacy. So yeah, we do have them in, so we're kind of keeping a coalition going, really. Yeah, so I mean, you could lean really into warfare. You could really lean into colonization. You could really lean into industrialization and trade. Yeah, or you can do silly things like make yourself the king of Texas, take over the rest of the United States, kind of thing. So yeah, it's really kind of up to you. I mean, if you wanted a really hardcore challenge, you could play one of the more sort of tribal states and try and protect yourself from being colonized by stronger states. So yeah, there's kind of like the usual array of choices, and it's kind of like the mechanics that are more different than anything else. Anyway, so yeah, fertilizer we know about. Fabric is saying is so that's going to cost us 15 bureaucracy, which we don't have. So a lot of this game is like, if you're playing a more peaceful game, a lot of it is just kind of sitting waiting on the build timers and production and whatever. But the way warfare works, I mean, this is actually a war going on down here at the moment between this country. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that, but yeah, that northern part of that, and then Brazil proper. And at the moment you can see this is the sort of Brazilian occupied front, and this is like the counter invasion, as it were. We can't see the individual thing of what's going on, but compared to how warfare worked in Victoria 2, where it was much more like the EU style, you had stacks of units that you moved around the map. In this, it's much more kind of abstracted, and it's kind of like the front system from Hearts of Iron 4, except obviously still in Hearts of Iron you still have those individual stacks of units around on the map. In this game you don't. So you're not directly controlling your units, you're setting your sort of offensive fronts or defensive fronts, and you are saying, you know, use this strategy, and basically the generals will prosecute the war for you, and it's much more to do with like your kind of infrastructure of war. So how many regiments you have available, which is, you know, how many barracks you've built basically, but then also those regiments you have to make sure you've got guns and ammunition, and for your navy you have to make sure that you've got the shipbuilding capability, and you can also just buy these things in, but that gets quite expensive. So yeah. Is there inbreeding in this game too? No, unfortunately not. I don't think there's any kind of character, like there are character traits as it were, but there's no kind of, like, you don't have any control over them. It's like Hearts of Iron, not Hearts of Iron, it's like EU4 or EU3, where that's all just kind of happening in the background, but you can't even do things like royal marriages or anything. Sadly, I can't go and have a royal marriage with, I don't know, Hanover or like Hesse Castle and be like, yeah, I'm going to inherit that. That's just not a thing. Does the Russian Revolution happen at the correct time? I don't know. There might be things that lead into that. I mean, there are, like, communism is a thing that you can have happen. So, yeah. But you kind of have to force the conditions for a communist revolution to happen, or either that or just extremely badly mismanage things. What was I looking for? Where are we? Government capacity, which is somewhere. No, that's services. Is it right? It's built. Is it just still? Is it just not? Okay, there we go. It's just the employment thing hadn't kicked in yet. Yeah, it doesn't instantly employ everyone that it could. It kind of seems to do it partly on the basis of yeah, I don't know. I don't fully understand how that why it does that relatively slowly. It kind of ticks up based on the amount of available employees that you have, but it also seems to be checking against your actual like demand as well. Right, we have a bit of turmoil from a high number of radical pops. Which is not something we can do much about at the moment. Why is that suddenly shot down? Colonial Affairs 45. Is that costing me? That's still downgrading, I think. Yeah, 11 weeks. It takes away a while to upgrade and downgrade these things. Maybe I should leave that alone, actually. We'll cancel that. Because they can help. Law enforcement level helps against people being angry with you. But maybe we just get rid of kind of colonialism altogether. Let's give that a go. I don't think we're going to be doing colonising. Yeah, it does run up to 1936, so it's basically the start date of Hearts of Iron 4. I think Victoria 2 ran up to 1930. There was a specific Great War mechanic in Victoria 2, and I'm pretty sure they've re-implemented something along those lines. Hey, Shiva. Oh, I wish you could control message settings as you could in other games, but yeah, we don't really seem to be able to. Right, iron. Iron's expensive. I think we have unused railway capacity. Oof, we're at minus 20k now. Is that because we're having an impact on our tax efficiency? Right, let's see how making some of these changes works out. Right, calories we don't have yet. Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that's just nosedived. Is it because I built the administration in the Highlands and it's then gone, hey, that's extra population? I'm honestly not sure. Oh, we have a thing. Railroad accident. Okay, so you get events like this popping up, so we can take -5 to infrastructure, but that's fine. Increase trade unions' strength a little bit. What is so expensive? Right, loan interest is obviously hammering us a bit. It's for military buildings, yeah. How are we doing? Right, we've taken out a loan for the remainder of our credit limit. And yeah, once we burn through that, we'll have to declare bankruptcy. We really need to... yeah, we really need to... to try and fix this deficit, because we can't really properly trade until we actually I might downgrade that construction sector. That yeah, we're going to do that. That saves us a chunk of change. Makes building things a lot slower, but yeah. Right. Yeah, if we could get just a lot more bureaucracy cap, that would be so useful. I may even have to decrease the education level. You know what? Oh, yeah, no, that's already underway, isn't it? So that ticks away, basically. Right, so what's constructing? Some coal mines, some paper mills, government administration. We probably want a tool workshop as well. Is there a thing where it's like, just, hey, that's going to make you money? Probably not. Paper mill we're already building. Let's get tool workshops queued up as well. Well, we're losing now less than 10k. It was at minus 20k for a little bit there, which was a bit scary. But that's still quite a bit of money that's just you know, draining away, so we might even have to add some more consumption taxes. So we have 300 cap left. What's gonna net us some money? Fish? Clothes? Yeah, if we start taxing basic things, people are not going to be happy with us, but that's nearly an extra 1,000. Okay, I think clothes is the next most profitable thing. Right, so minus 8.8. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of an improvement, but it is an improvement. And hopefully, once we get more things, like let's look at the buy orders versus sell. I mean, there's things that we can export, things that we need to import. Could we even maybe increase the logging camps? Although that's still... Okay, that's kind of varying a bit back and forth. I could just... I mean, do we want to stick with... making some oil? I could just nix the whaling stations entirely. I don't know. Yeah, I know things are not going well. I know they're not. Which is having negative effects on... Oh, everything. Right. Let's have a look-see. Let's go for that one. So that is the coal mine built. And at the moment... Yeah, tools are really expensive, so we'll not increase the output level until we get the tools workshop up and built, which actually maybe want to move that to the top of the queue. I mean, this might all go very wrong, I don't know. I mean, it kind of is all going very wrong. But we're doing what we can to stabilize things, so... yeah, we don't have a huge need for tools, but getting them in from outside is hugely expensive. Clippers and men of war are also very expensive. Arms, engines. We probably need to get some kind of textiles industry going as well, don't we? Man, we just need so much stuff. It would be fantastic if we could have the bureaucracy cap to actually sell some stuff abroad, but yeah. Right, let's get textile mill queued up for the Highlands, which is historically appropriate. Lanarkshire was a huge production centre of textiles for a while. Yeah, coal's quite... What's our... Producing 8. Oh, let's see, coal mines. It's the shortage of tools that are hampering things. So yeah, we really need those tool workshops up and running. Oh, is it pausing construction because we are... I think it pauses because we've just got such a deficit of cash. Yeah, that kind of like auto-pauses it. Right, no colonial affairs. That's freed up some bureaucracy cap, but we're still at minus 60, which ain't great. Okay. Right, I'm guessing it pauses that so we can at least service our interest, but if I click... Okay, we can't actually change that if we don't have... I don't know. If we don't have, like, a built construction industry, it just seems to, yeah. Armed forces are dissatisfied with the inclusion of the intelligentsia in the Scottish government. Let's tell them to follow orders and wait for the inevitable uprising. The next census suffrage. We could go for just full-on universal suffrage. But there's not much thing for it either way. There are some people that strongly oppose it at the moment, so that's probably not the best plan. Yes, I know, sugar, there's so few... Maybe I should just say, damn the bureaucracy deficit, which, the thing is though, the higher the bureaucracy deficit, the less sort of tax income that we have. But, yeah, of the goods that we can export, I don't think we can... we could try exporting some things. But I don't know if the oh, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing overall. Like, that seems to have made things worse. It would be nice to have a clearer indication of whether things are going to be better or worse when you do that sort of thing. So, yeah, having lost the bureau, the bureaucracy, you know, expenditure for those trade routes has actually left us worse off in terms of, I think, tax income. So yeah, I know, coal shortage. Look, we need the tooling workshops. And you keep blocking that, which is annoying. I get little brief periods of being able to build it, and then yeah. Man, this is a lot tougher. This is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie. Where's the coal mine? Look, let's go with that. It is going to increase the expense, but it's also going to produce more coal. I don't know if that's going to help overall. Yeah, I know, fertilizer. Right, right, is there, how do I see... yeah, high import demand I know about, so we are... I mean, in theory... I kind of wish there wasn't such a... I'm not sure why they've put the bureaucracy penalty there for... I kind of wish there'd been some separate trade capacity thing other than just folding it into the bureaucracy capacity. Because, yeah, it's... These things are improving trade revenue, but they're costing us in terms of... So if I cancel that, is that going to help or hurt? So I think that there's a slight dip, and then because we're actually getting more tax revenues, we're just better off not doing that at the moment. But yeah, it doesn't... It's not really clear until you do it and then undo it that that's going to happen. I kind of wish the information in the game was a little better in that regard. Can we unpause things? No, we're still saying, you're in deficit! You're in deficit! I know we're in deficit. We're not quite at the stage, like I think if it gets real bad we can just declare bankruptcy, which wipes away all the debt, but that has some fairly strong negative effects. So, yeah, lots less prestige, loan interest rate goes through the roof, construction efficiency plummets as well. Let's do it. I mean, let's click on it and see what happens, because this is all new to me. I'm learning the game still. Let's see what happens if we shout, "I declare bankruptcy!" Right, so it's absolutely trashed our credit limit. Can we restart building at least? Oh, it's cancelled all constructions. Okay. Right, put some funds into stamping out the... Ah, sure, throw some more money at it, why not? Right, so... Right. Tooling workshops. Which is now going to take an ungodly amount of time to actually complete. I don't know what happens if you just repeatedly declare bankruptcy. Probably nothing good. I mean, minus 4.27k, it's better than it was, but yeah. Yeah. I might even downgrade that once again. We do have a relatively high literacy rate. I don't think literacy rate's going to like massively fall. Presumably... Oh, okay, I would have thought I'd completely knackered my government's legitimacy by doing that, but apparently not. Right, is there anything in society that's going to help? I think postal savings will. And mutual funds, identification documents. Increases your taxation capacity overall. Yeah, so it's just going to take an absolute age to build the tooling workshops, but they are kind of vital. Let's see how we do. I mean, if I completely fail at this, I might have a go at Finland. I don't know. Lati, I might see how different I can make your history. A bit more prestige. Sure. I mean, he's. I really wish you could rename him, but yeah, we'll just pretend he's a McJedi. Can always just declare bankruptcy over and over again. I mean, it's a strategy. Not a good strategy, but it's a strategy. Yeah, now it's plummeted once again. I'm doing so well. I just need a tool workshop to alleviate things. Ugh. Right, can we, like... I don't know. Maybe do we downgrade some naval bases or something? Okay. Like the whaling stations aren't really adding anything. Let's dump those. Yeah, I don't know how to get out of this hole. I need more wiggle room so I can build the things necessary to build up sufficient sort of economic capability. Yeah, as you can see, we've not done good things to our GDP overall. Drop military wages a little bit further, but that's not going to help. Yeah, we're not like you don't. There's a kind of EU4 style mechanic where you get sort of bleed through of ideas or technologies in this case. So you will sometimes get techs unlocked because your neighbours have them, basically. But they take longer to filter through that way rather than if you're you've directly selected. Now, are we? No, that's. I don't think any of those are going to help enough. Ah! We can try and export some furniture. Don't know if that's gonna help. There's a lot about the economic side that I don't quite fully grasp yet. So yeah, I don't know if I'm helping or hurting there. I mean, if that's... You'd think it would, but... no, I don't know. Trying to squeeze more efficiency out of our... Just set everything to the most basic level, I guess. Right, I can make a bit more doing it that way. Right, do we actually need hardwood at the moment? We're not... Okay, we are using a bit of hardwood, so we're sort of meeting demand of hardwood. Yeah, we do... We could like downgrade one of the fishing wharves, maybe? I mean, the sugar is, I think, absolutely hammering the... I might have to just put that into... Is that going to help or is it going to hurt for importing less sugar? I don't know, I think that was fairly neutral. Don't know if there's any other special changes we can make in terms of importing less.
This is appreciated. Oh, there was a thing there, I missed it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means, Tom. Yep. Either that or the outgoing... Because when you start, England still has King something? Is it William? Is it a George? I can't remember. Anyway. And, yeah, so... you know, obviously in a final act of madness, he was just like, yep, no, Scotland can be free, that's fine. Release Scotland. Right, we might experience a revolution at this rate, frankly. Low government legitimacy, yeah, we might see what the conditions for a revolution are. There is an election upcoming. Conservative Party, suddenly not very popular. Nobody is popular right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen. We can consider this a test run, I suppose. Okay. So this is like the leader of... Okay, well, we can force him to step down then, I guess. It does the usual thing of, you know, forcing somebody out of post effectively just, like, kills them. It's not that they can pop up again later on, it's just like, nope, they're gone. I mean, credit's building back up a little bit, but I don't know if declaring bankruptcy again will help, to be honest. I'm just pushing buttons and seeing what does what. I also don't quite understand, like, at the moment, for instance, the cash reserves of the glassworks are going up, even though the balance is not always necessarily positive. Yeah. Right, aside from trade routes, we're actually not that badly off. I mean, I might just do the thing where I try dumping all the trade routes again and see if that's actually better for my economy. In terms of increased tax revenue. Right, we're down to only minus 2.63. Only. Yeah, the Conservative Party not doing so well, apparently. Find a scapegoat. That seems like something the Conservative Party would do. I'm role-playing, you guys! I'm role-playing! Right, still getting that warning about fertilizer. I really wish you could be a bit more... Like, a lot of the other games have quite granular controls in terms of what... like what messages you want to have appear, or how prominent you want the messages to be, and that just doesn't seem to be a thing, sadly. This is entirely the game's own soundtrack, by the way, Tom. I think if you bought the deluxe version, they include a remastered / re-recorded version of the Victoria 2 soundtrack as well. Right, we're nearly at parity. We might have to put policing back down. Which is gonna, you know, potentially make revolution even more likely, but yeah. How are we doing for... We still need paper and we still need tools. Why are we only producing 1 coal? What's going on there then? Right, there is the demand. Is it just the lack of tools? The lack of capital to buy the tools, to buy the... Yeah, we really need tool workshops, basically. Because that's having a knock-on effect of everything else. Maybe the very first things I should have done were just build tool workshops and paper workshops. Maybe this is one of those things that it's doable, but you just have to do things in the right order. Otherwise you end up in this hole. So yeah, we're really only just eking out a little bit. But if I drop that down, do we then actually produce more coal, or we're needing less tools? I'm not actually sure. The election results are in. Did no party win? Right, well, we can reform the government. I think just... Right, okay. A Liberal Party gives a little bit. The Conservative Party, I think, gives the most legitimacy, so I guess we reluctantly go with them again. You can mix and match, but sometimes that gives you better results. But can't be promoted to power while proving angry. Oh right, people really don't like them. Angry, unhappy, neutral. So we're going to have to go with the Agrarian Party because that's literally the only one that we can have at the moment, apparently. Okay, stable government, strong and stable. It's going very well. There's another little weird bug where that thing stays on screen. If I could somehow get more authority, but I think that's yeah, that's not something that's that easy to force through. So is there anything we can... Right, here's one of those things where it'd be like super useful if I could... Okay, so we're producing more grain than we need. How are we doing for fabric? Fertilizer, I guess we'll leave that alone. That's requiring tools. We can actually... I think we can reduce the amount of meat. So we'll go down to open air stockyards, see if that helps. So we're only needing... so if I look there at meat, for example... Okay. Grain, we're producing more than we kind of really need. We can reduce the demand for fertilizer if we go down there. Coal, we do need more coal, but Yeah, it's tools. Tools are our big bottleneck, and then we also need paper quite desperately as well. Dirac, you can basically... what I did was started as the UK and released Scotland as a independent nation, and then you can at the same time, there's a little button that says play as whatever country you're releasing. So yeah, you can basically do that for any big nation that if you want to play a smaller, you know, traditional part of that. Like I'm sure Russia has a lot of releasable nations, for example. Yeah, you can do that, and you know, sort of play a bit of alt history that way. Basically, pretend that the map was like that when you found it, even though it wasn't. So yeah, there's lots of releasable nations that you can do that and play as. Essentially, there are probably conditions whereby releasable nations can get released through, say, peace treaties and things like that as well. But I haven't played the game enough to really encounter that sort of thing yet. Hello, by the way. This is me struggling with the economy. Because, I mean, one of the things with doing that is that you are, you know, releasing a fresh nation. In the case of Scotland, I did already have a couple of things that were built there, but they were kind of built there as part of a wider British economic / industrial sector. So in terms of the needs of an independent nation, yeah, I think I've mismanaged things a bit in terms of what I needed to build early on while I could. And so now I've been desperately playing for the last like hour and a half trying to stabilize things, and you know, we've already been through bankruptcy once, and we're at the stage where I could just about declare it again, but we're trying to squeeze our way somehow into actually getting into a positive balance, and if not, I can always just restart, because I'm still very much in my learning curve on this. I mean, it only came out yesterday, so yeah. I was not one of the lucky few that got to play it early. I really wish we could build this tooling workshop, but we just... If I hit resume, it's going to come up and go, oh, I can't do that, and it's going to auto-pause it. I mean, one could do that. One could do that. Darien Colony is still a thing. I mean, it's about... Geez, when do you start? 1830? 1830? 1832? I can't even remember, but yeah, that's about 140-ish years. I think. Yeah, the Darien colony is about 140-ish years in the past at this point. Trying to colonise Scotland is something in a, you know, somewhat historical fashion, shall we say, is something you can do in EU4, but if you're wanting to be colonising as Scotland, which you could do, but you'd have to be doing it in Africa, basically, or, you know, if you get the technology, you need to basically have the quinine technology to, I think, to get the more kind of tropical regions, or like the East Indies, for example, before you can do that. So, yeah. Oh, the Ottomans. Who are you at war with? What's that? Diplomacy. Ah, the Ottomans are getting their ass kicked by Egypt, apparently. Interesting. I may have to... It may be easier at this point just to restart and have another go at this and actually do things in a better order. because I don't, like, I've been at this for a while now, and I don't seem to be any closer to getting into a positive balance. So let's exit back to main menu. I might do a brief interlude and show you the game I was playing earlier today, which was, as I mentioned, Krakow. Which, something like Krakow is actually probably a good one to play as, so here we are, 1860. It's probably a good one to play more as a beginner, just to actually get a handle on building up your industrial, like your economy side of things. They've actually managed to build a decent economy. It's not the strongest it's been, but we're in positive balance here. GDP is actually 3.4 million. We have a pretty decent credit limit, and if I show, and you've just got a single state to worry about. You're part of the wider Austrian market, so you have access to quite a big market. So yeah, it is actually not a bad one to play around with. I mean, I might show you my Chile save game as well, but as you can see, I've been just steadily. I think we started off with, did we even have anything? But we can build some coal mines, iron mines, and a couple of logging camps. We also do have some agricultural capability, but I've been almost entirely ignoring that in favour of building sort of urban production and trying to industrialise basically, because a lot of the sort of base resource production is very much covered already by Austria as part of the Austrian market, so it's a bit pointless to do it, and when you don't need all that much production. But because also I've managed to get the average standards of living up quite high. I mean, yeah, there's not that many other states that are as like, that's the average. 22 as an average is pretty good, so I am really doing well in terms of immigration stability. Where is immigration? I think we just click on the state for immigration, don't we? Population, there we go. So yeah, we have high attraction, partly from sort of enacting a policy, an edict essentially, but also because the intelligentsia faction are happy, and that gives a boost to that as well. So yeah, we started off at like 180k, or already at 230k. And I don't know what defaults to this square. Like, I wish you could set it as the default to the pie charts I'm used to, rather than the square array. But yeah, it's been pretty successful. My main thing that's holding me back is actually I need workers. I need more workers. So I think we've actually got, in this one, I've got my construction paused at the moment because I just simply don't have enough workers to build stuff. We also don't have to worry about military at all because we're a protectorate of goddamn Austria. So, Austria is one of the superpowers. It's the second-ranked great power. They literally just won a war with Prussia in the last 2 years. So yeah, this is actually not a bad one to play as overall, and all of our industries are doing really quite well. I mean, you actually start off with a pretty healthy textile industry, which I've expanded. I've built a bit of furniture. We're actually now building steam engines. I've got my own little railway for extra transport capacity, because that was a bottleneck for a while. We're producing our own steel, paper, tools. Those are only still at level 1. I would like to expand them both. But we don't actually, because we're such a small, I mean, we're easily producing enough for ourselves. So the rest we're selling on the Austrian market. We'll probably make a bigger profit selling on the Austrian market. But yeah, our own needs are relatively minor, although we're actually using slightly more tools than we're producing ourselves, so that's probably a good one to expand at some point. But yeah, and you also don't have to worry about like building clippers or anything like that, but that does have the downside of you can only trade, being a landlocked polity, you can only trade with people that you have direct connections with. But sometimes it's a bit weird. Like if I want to trade with the Dutch, for example, you'd think, okay, I can trade overland. That's not going to be a problem. But no, apparently it takes convoys to trade with the Dutch for some reason, or to trade with France. I really don't understand that. Maybe it's thinking, oh, okay, that's far enough away that you have to have convoys going from Austria, but I don't quite understand why you can't just trade overland. Like, I can trade with Russia and Prussia and Austria and all the neighbours. I can trade with Italy just fine, but maybe it's just immediate land border neighbours of either yourself or your overlord. Don't quite understand the rules between that for that so far. Is it fun? Yeah, I think so, but I think it's also a lot slower paced than a lot of other games. Potentially. I mean, you can play one of the superpowers like Russia, France, obviously Great Britain is the preeminent power, US as an up-and-coming power. You know, you could play as a really belligerent, I'm going to conquer everything kind of power and you know, have a lot more action. But you can also play a kind of very sort of thoughtful, I'm just going to build up my economy sort of game, which is all very kind of like Victoria 2 was always had that as more of its focus, and warfare was always a pain in Victoria 2. This one definitely allows you to have warfare as more of a focus if you want. So yeah, I'm kind of pleased with that game so far. That's been going absolutely fine. And then there is the kind of Chilean tutorial game which I spent most of yesterday playing, which as you can see doesn't quite look like the historical borders of Chile, because I was able to do colonizing into Patagonia, and actually Argentina sort of counter-colonized a bit of Araucania there, so yeah. Let's have Peru, Bolivia having formed, and I've actually started colonizing as Chile. So we have Chilean Sulawesi, or Chilean Celebes here, which is producing tea for mainland Chile, and we're also trying to produce dyes as well. We don't really have much of a market for those, and we would have some very, very slow growing colonies here in New Guinea. So yeah, that was me just trying out the colonizing thing a bit, and also realizing that, hey, that's actually useful because I need tea. So this is another one where I did have a bit of military action in this one, but it wasn't anything major, so I got to explore that a bit, and yeah, I had to deal a bit more with balancing military in this one as well. Anyway, so yeah, let us no, let's switch country. Exit to main menu. Let's try Scotland round 2 and see if we can do any better and get workshops and whatnot built at the start. And yeah, William of Hanover. That's going to be William the Third, I think. I'm pretty sure. Can't actually remember. Anyway, I mean, hell, if you wanted a real challenge, you could do Wales and you're starting off even smaller, or maybe Ireland. I don't know, but what we're going to do Scotland. We're going to do Scotland. So it was the politics screen? Where did I see it? Was it the diplomacy screen? Yes, it's the diplomacy screen. Heck, you could play as independent Ulster. Who else can they release? Jamaica, Bahamas, Malta? Could play as the city-state of Malta. Newfoundland. Some other places as well that aren't releasable just yet, because they don't control enough. And you can't release Canada as a kingdom because the Hudson Bay Company Like, that's the directly controlled bit of Canada. I think Lower Canada actually is its own separate colony, and then you've got Newfoundland, which is separately administrated. Yeah, at the start, actually, you've got the two big, well, the three big kind of corporate governments. I don't know what you'd call them exactly, but yeah, chartered companies as they are in the game. So you've got Hudson Bay Company, you've got the East India Company, and then you have the Dutch East Indies Company. But I think Dutch East Indies is a separate thing then. I'm sure I saw the Dutch East Indies Company popping up somewhere. Maybe this is past the... it might be actually, didn't the Dutch East Indies, the VOC, or didn't that... I think it was around the turn of the century that collapsed. I think it was either during or after the Napoleonic Wars. It basically collapsed because it was groaning under the weight of its own corruption at that point. I don't know if it might be possible to re-establish the VOC. So yeah, apparently it's just East India Company and Hudson Bay Company then. And I don't know if there's any other great colonial companies left. I think that was just them. Right, so yeah, right, so we were doing the thing, and we were going to release Scotland. I mean, the easier thing would be to release as a subject country and play as Scotland, and I don't know if you could then work towards independence, but you would have access to the British market at that point. But no, we'll go release as independent. We'll try that again, and we will try and stabilize things in a... Like, now we know what the challenges are. We're going to just take much more immediate sort of corrective action. Maybe go for different technologies to start with. So, let's run it for a day or two, because it takes a little moment to catch up with its POPs, standard of living, everything else. Right, so let's have a proper look. So we're producing lots of fish. Right, so what we'll do immediately with policies is we will we can't get rid of that just now. Okay, not yet. Do we still have the... No, oh, okay, it just randomly generates from a nameless. This time we have a Robert Stewart. Apparently they've managed to scrape up a Stewart, except it's spelt wrong, so I don't know if that's the proper Stewart. State religion and Protestant. Right. Military. We can immediately downgrade military, because that's going to... that's going to save a fair bit in terms of the cost that we're paying out. Buildings, let's not worry so much about bureaucracy just now. In fact, we could also downgrade that. We can't get rid of it at the moment. And education investment. And when we get down policing for now, so that's going to decrease. Fish is the thing we're most overproducing. Nobody's taking in iron at the moment. Fertilizer. What do we have like the most deficits for? Sugar's going to be a problem, because sugar's going to be expensive to import and we can't really grow sugar. Clothing, furniture, paper, tools, coal. So tools, I think tools is going to be the first thing we need to build as a tool workshop. Tooling workshop. And I wish you could build stuff in parallel, actually. That would be quite useful. We might actually hold off on building, because last time we rushed to build a government administration, but we might hold off on building that because that's just costs, basically. We are way overproducing on fish, so we'll maybe downsize that. And that reduces clipper demand as well. Buildings, let's take a look at production as well. So now that we know we've got that nice little mouse over thing, that's fine. Right. Fabric, we're overproducing a little bit. That produces meat, right? I think it's this. Yeah, there we go. So, sell orders. So we can actually immediately downgrade that. We might not do it as far as last time. Iron. Have we got anything that's using iron at the moment? No, I don't think we do, so we'll downgrade that for now. I mean, that's just using transport cap, but I guess we... Well, that does free up some labour, so that's not really a thing at the moment. Logs... Right, that's hardwood production. Which we are slightly overproducing wood, and we have nobody that's using hardwood at the moment, so we can maybe downgrade both those to simple forestry and sort of upgrade as need be later. That will maybe... Yeah, that frees up a decent number of people. Simple fishing will definitely downgrade that because that's less clipper use. Oil we have no market for, so we might just downgrade that but not get rid of it completely. Right, so urban... producing leaded glass, but we're not producing lead. Producing way more glass than we need, so we can we're demanding any... We've got a slight demand for porcelain. If I switch to ceramics, that though gives us a dye demand, which will bump up the price. And the tooling workshops built to start off by sticking that on iron. We're not going to have steel as of yet. I don't think we need any services. I might actually, hang on, there's a way of changing that. You have to right, it's the interface thing they did with CK3 where you can mouse over and it'll hold it there for a bit. Yeah, also apparently, like CK3, there's nudity in the game, which, like, what? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That's obviously the, the X-rated After Dark countries, that if you play those, who even knows what happens. Anyway, tooltip settings, timer lock, lock delay, we'll actually maybe put that down to like a ½ second. I think that's the thing we want to change there. Right, so what was I looking at? Buildings. Oh yeah, so there we go, that's a lot quicker. So services, we are overproducing. So we could step that down, although that does decrease glass, which we actually kind of want to keep using glass. We might leave that alone for now. State-run churches, free churches, which apparently is, I guess that's just because we're employing less people, so we're gonna set the churches loose from the state, I guess. Right, bureaucracy we can't really change because we're already in a negative. Administrative clergy, secular. It's going to cost us slightly more, so we'll actually leave that be for the time being. Right, we may even downsize the. But we are producing a lot of glass. And, you know, if we could export glass, that would be great. I bet if we look on the market, we'll go, hey, you could export lots of glass, but we don't have the bureau, the bureaucracy cap. So what I did last time was I concentrated early on too much on the bureaucracy and not enough on the economy. I need to do it the other way around this time. I need to get the economy sorted before I do the bureaucracy. So, declared interest, we don't really care. Legitimacy, expensive goods, input goods, we know about. So we also want to get a coal mine underway. So at the moment we kind of have the problem of we only have our own internal market. I'm not sure if there's a way. I mean, is there even a way to, like, I want I look at trade. I mean, trade actions, can I be... No, I can change my own market capital, but I can't say, right, I want to be a part of the British market. No, okay, I kind of wish that was a thing. I'll just go with the default option there. Right, so tooling workshops, coal mines. We have an heir to the throne, that's very nice. We'll go with, say, some paper mills and we probably want textile mills there as well. Scotland's pop count is kinda low. Yeah, I think when you are releasing a nation, it kind of it does a proportion of the parent nation, so it isn't really accurate. I mean, Spiffing Brit did a video where he where are we? He played as Jan Mayen Island up here, and yeah, basically, which you know, had like a couple of whaling stations on it. It you know, during this time period, so it had a population of maybe a couple of dozen people, and he started off with like 5,000 or 10,000 people, just because he got, you know, a proportion of the Norwegian pops. So yeah, it is not exactly particularly accurate. Are there... Right, decrees, costs... We might spend some authority on decrees, so... don't know. We've got a railroad there, so I don't know that we really need that. We could increase... manufacturing... resource... Maybe, or let's also, I remember what we did last time, we did it far too late for it to make a difference, but set some consumption taxes as well. I might actually sink everything into grain, because that's going to give me a huge amount. but it also eats up. Or I could spend the same amount actually. Services and clothes would get me 4k. We'll do that for now, just as a way to... Oh, there we go! Get in the positive, but I'm... Yeah, I don't... Like, you would think that would have a bad effect on your political legitimacy, but I don't know if it really seems to. Right, Liberals... Oh. Right, the Liberals seem to give us the biggest legitimacy bump at the moment, so let's go with them. Right, so will I crash the economy again? Gosh, I hope not. So, I mean, at the moment we are sort of rock bottom wages, government wages, and like the highest levels of taxes. So I think the priority will be to bring down taxes because that will reduce the amount of radicalism, and then bring up wages as we can. So wood is expensive. What are we producing? Moment we have Britain is importing some of our oil and some of our glass, but we can't directly export to them, so we're kind of at the whims of the market there, so that's helping a little bit. Anyway, so wood we do have a bit of a gap. Wood we do have also an abundance of, however. Though that at the moment is not making money. I'm not quite sure. So, oh, we're slightly in the negative. Right, let's just concentrate on getting the tool workshops, paper and whatnot built. It would be nice if you could a bit more Hearts of Iron style. Like, you can only build one thing at a time, and it'd be nice if you could be like, okay, I've increased my construction capacity so I can build things in parallel. But no, as you increase your construction capacity, it just means you build things quicker. It'd be nice if you could actually choose whether you wanted to be, you know, building things in serial or in parallel. Right, iron input shortage, fertilizer input shortage. Sell orders 20, buy orders 50. So we could go to... Could actually set that back up. Which I don't know if that's gonna have a good effect or a bad effect. I don't know. Also transport more by rail. Potentially. Oh, we set for... do we want to go for cargo prioritization? No, it says it's gonna, like, save money, as it were, but I don't know if it actually will. Right, Liberal Party wins, okay. We have a free period to swap in or out the different interest groups. Some of which form under parties, some of which don't. Anyway, enact censorship. What do we have at the moment? We have free speech. We have right of assembly in our free speech laws, apparently. Some people are... the armed forces, the devout, and the petty bourgeoisie. They're not very happy about that. Right. Fertilizer, we can... we have a bit of demand, but I mean, if we build a chemical plant, maybe? I guess there's other priorities. There's definitely other priorities. Right, tools and coal are expensive, so yeah, we definitely need to... We're trying to build a stable internal market, basically. Because our ability to trade outside at the moment is very, very limited. Tool workshops. Get that built. I mean, we're back in the negative cash-wise, but... Oh, we're really getting into negative cash-wise now. That from construction goods. If I downgrade to... Ah, there we go. If I downgrade construction method, that's going to save me some. We could also do what I did last time. Actually, that was a pretty big expense, was the extra construction industry that we had. Right, but apparently, oh, I don't... What's shot me down there? The bureaucratic deficiency is having some deleterious effects in terms of tax wastage. See you, Foo! Right. Conflicts in government. Government conflict for 5 years. What does that do? Minus 25% authority. We probably don't want that. So who are we going to piss off? At the moment we have landowners and the intelligentsia. The landowners are the more powerful group of the two. They have the biggest clout, but neither of them is particularly happy. I guess we'll go for... Yeah, I'll go for that. That puts them to -9, but they are the sort of smaller components. Yes, unhealthy economy. I know. This is proving to be way more challenging than I thought it was going to be honest. Right, can we get rid of colonial affairs yet? I guess not. Not meeting the conditions. Right, oh, we might actually downgrade that just because sugar is such an expensive thing. Oh yeah, we were going to set that to groceries production as well, weren't we? So, there we go. Get rid of the reliance on sugar imports. Right, the average standards of living are not fantastic, but they are at least above the minimum expected. Right, let's have a look at our... Glassworks. Tool workshop. Right, we're in a positive balance. Let's see, tools. Sell orders 30, buy orders 15. So we're already sort of producing more than we need just with that one workshop, but obviously that demand will grow. We could actually decrease the amount. Well, if we produce... I don't know if that's going to be a good thing, actually. If we... No, I guess that's going to cost us more. Okay, so that's hiring. And as it hires, it will produce more. We have more demand for wood. Paper's probably the next big one. Coal we also do need. So construction, we're building coal, paper, textile mills. Right, we just need some stability, basically. Well, I'm going to step away for just a second to grab some more water, and hopefully the country doesn't, like, completely crash and burn in the next 45 seconds. Oh good, everything isn't completely on fire. Right, are we... Do we have any potential for export? Yeah, but other people would have to be buying it from us. I mean... It might be... Is it worth increasing our glass output? England is really liking our glass, so maybe we should increase our glass. It's one of our more profitable businesses. Yeah, we don't really have demand for ceramics, do we? That's just taking wood, so that would consume more wood, which would increase demand for wood, so we could potentially have our logging camps doing better as well. Or even just... actually, now we're producing our own tools. Yeah, we can go back to sawmills for our logging camps. Buildings, rural. Set both of them to sawmills. Fish, we're not overproducing quite as much. We're not really exporting fish. I don't like. We don't really. Like, buying lead would be expensive. We can't produce lead ourselves, so. Yeah, we'd be producing more glass if we switch that way. So we're just gonna have to do it by increasing the size of the industry. Okay, all right. I mean, this is. We're still very much in the red. This again may not work. This might be one where it's just actually a really difficult start and I just haven't realised it because I just decided to do it for the stream. But there is a lot of stabilisation to do. And maybe I'll look back in a week's time at what I was doing here and thinking, ha, you fool, you did it all wrong. You should have been doing this, this and this. Anyway, yeah, the paper mill will, I think, help. So coal mine and paper mill. Oh, hello, Samuel. Have you awoken from your slumber? Meow, meow. Meow. This is my economic minister / defense minister / everything else minister coming to advise me. We should build vast catnip plantations, you say, Samuel. and turn over our food production factories to producing cat treats. Well, I, for one, think that's perfectly sound advice. I'll get right on that. Right, coal mine built. Where are we? So we are on... I don't think we need to increase the output that much. I think once employment goes up, output will go up to the point where it's producing enough to cover what we're using. And we're actually back to under 1k. What is it, Samuel? No, what? Can transport some of that by rail as well. I feel like I should time you out for that puddle, Lati. That was particularly awful. What's the matter, Sam? This is very urgent. He's being super dramatic. Okay, so that has proved to be a good thing. That's currently contributing. That's in the green. That's in the green. Do we stand down? Does drive up the cost of services, though. By quite a bit. Hello? Are you doing patty paws? Are you is there, like, a half a millimetre of the bottom of your... like a half square millimetre of the bottom of your food bowl? Is it exposed, Samuel? That is a tragedy. Sam, that is absolute tragedy. Right, so we're reducing enough tools, that's fine. Poor Sam! Lowlands in turmoil, yay! And we're back to down -3k, okay, right. That's not what I wanted to see. Oh, for goodness sake, let me... okay, meow, meow, meow. For goodness sake. You've got some biscuits, Samuel. Do you require more biscuits? Are these biscuits not fresh enough for your majesty? Yeah, apparently the fact that there were biscuits left in his bowl wasn't enough. I had to put more biscuits in the bowl before it was acceptable. Because cats. That's all. Just cats. Right. It was looking up a little bit there, and then it's gone down again a bit. I really want to get rid of colonial affairs. Can I just not do that with this government? I'm on protectionism at the moment. I wonder if that's affecting my trade. What does that do? 10% tariffs. 20% tariffs on exports. Yeah, okay. Oh, you can go for just full on, just, you know, only inside my own economy, and that's it. Oh yeah, poor laws doesn't really. I wonder if that might have saved me some. Internal security, guaranteed liberties. That might actually be useful, but that would be hard to get through. Yeah, I think so, Corpenfliger. I mean, it wasn't like this. Having released Scotland, this is not like other games, or it's not like starting a state that's already an independent state that has some measure of everything set up already. It's definitely more of a challenge releasing a state and trying to stabilize things. Much more of a challenge than I realized it would be. Right, I still can't back out of that. We might have to downgrade into that as well. Oh well. Yeah. Indeed, definitely good practice. I think I've chosen something that is quite a challenge, in fact, as it's turned out. Single malts. Hey, if I could export stuff. But I'm having a hard time with that at the moment. Just because it eats into the bureaucracy cap, which is already in the negative, which already is decreasing my tax revenue. So, yeah. Oh, hello. Great Britain has proposed to take on our national debt in exchange for an obligation. I'm just going to click accept because I haven't encountered this before and I don't know what happens. So they might go like, hey, I'm going to force you to be a vassal state or something like that. So, okay, alright, we're not paying interest anymore. So yeah, we have an obligation to Britain. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll see. It's a learning experience. We're still sending glass to... That's our only thing at the moment, is sending glass to... to the UK. We do have a Glassworks expansion queued up. Right, I mean, I think that's helped out a fair bit, but I'm honestly not 100% sure how things work sort of economy-wise in this game yet. So, okay. It will go for that, because the reduced interest rate on loans I think is going to be fairly useful. What are our biggest deficits at the moment? Liquor, actually. Paper, which we're trying to fulfill at the moment. Ships are still expensive. We might... well, we're not starting off with any kind of shipbuilding industry. We might... It's not port. Port gives you clippers. Or port gives you convoys, rather. Is it here? Shipyards. We might queue up shipyards and see if that alleviates things. Sort of emulate the of the Clyde shipbuilding industry. Which, I have to say, actually, notably, the Clyde appears to be absent. Unless that's supposed to be part of the Clyde, I don't know. The River Clyde disappeared, you guys. They've at least got the Forth River. Okay. Be great to get rid of that bureaucracy deficit, but of course that's going to add its own costs. Okay, new party formed, and there's paper production going. Right. Paper mills, we have... We don't have sulfur mines, so let's just stick with the basic. Okay, new artillery piece, or new type of artillery, so wood. I mean, we're really producing more than enough wood for our own market. And hey, we're in the green. Right, so we're now producing actually not even quite enough paper for our own full needs, but I think that's helping a lot. We're not having to import lots of expensive paper, essentially. Yeah, okay, that's all right. So Liberal Party. Let's take a look. See overview. So we can just keep them in, or we can kind of be like, okay, we respect the will of the voters. Not super high legitimacy, but it'll do. Right, that's in the green. I think Scotland, I think England taking on my national debt probably helped quite a lot. But apart from that, what have the English ever done for us? Yeah. Right, okay, okay. This is better. This is looking better. Engines might be nice at some point, but we don't have an extensive need for trains, so we'll probably not rush to build one of those just yet. Okay, let's see what... We'll see how we're doing otherwise. Yeah, an awful lot of this game is probably... I suspect playing this going forwards is just going to be spent looking at the market screen. Sam? What are you doing? It's been pretty miserable weather here today, so I've been getting the brunt of his full gremlin energy. Right, we do actually have a demand for liquor. Do we... How do we do that? Is that... Because at the moment we can do that through... rye farms. So we're producing less wheat, but... more liquor. We could do that so that we are... Oh, we don't have any grain farms in the Highlands. Okay. Yeah, we could actually set that so that we are producing more liquor and less grain. Okay, it'd be nice if I could get more authority and then I could institute a tax on that, but yeah, at some point we'll have a fiddle around with that'd be nice if we could add more consumption taxes for stuff that's less kind of like staple-ish, but at the moment that's playing a large part in keeping the economy afloat. Okay, so green across the board, hooray! Now we do have some oh, why is that suddenly in the green as well, actually? Is that purely that that plus 10% from the petty bourgeoisie being happy? It's kind of like Stellaris. If you satisfy different segments of your population, it will have potentially effects on your national sort of output of various resources. Right, so we could laws. We could put, say, law enforcement and education back up. Be nice to go for that as well. Decrease the mortality rate so our population's going up a bit quicker. We did have... what was the decree we had going here? Encourage manufacturing industry. Should we cancel that and then be like encourage... migration? Let's try encouraging migration. I hope it isn't just sucking people down from the Highlands and actually does get some people from Yorkshire as well. Or maybe the rest of Britain. Anyway, I think we are slowly paying off the balance of... I mean, we did get into a position where we were again taking out a loan, but yeah. It would be nice to put taxes down a little bit, but I don't know if we can afford to do that at the moment. No, we really can't. We'd still be in the green, but it would be a very, very thin margin. Let's maybe move up shipyards, glassworks. We are building a textiles plant. We do have some buy orders for tea. I wonder if... like, can I... I declare an interest in Indonesia. Alright, we must... we do have an interest in Indonesia, I just did that. Yes, okay, we've done that. I mean, we need quinine as well. But having declared an interest in Indonesia, I'm not sure why it's then... like, seeing as how we can't get rid of the colony thing, maybe we should have some... you know, Scottish Indonesia, that can be a thing, right? Right, let's actually change to quinine. We can get some, see if we can get some Scottish blend plantations going in Indonesia. Oh, there we go. Right. For some reason it just took a moment to kick in. In which case now it should... Oh, we don't even have to have quinine. Okay, so we can say I want to colonize there, and it's going to take a jolly long time. We can actually bump that back up by putting that up. Okay, so the first playthrough, the first time round, I just decided not to do colony stuff, but this time round we're going to give it a go. It is, however, going to take a long time to establish that. Right, low market access. Yes, because we'll need to buy a port, or build a port there. Lowlands is in turmoil, we know that. We need to wait for that to die down a bit. Right, so textile mills, shipyards, glassworks. All of these should improve our economic situation a little bit further. At least in theory. Maybe the numbers will dramatically swing down on it, won't know why. Oh, right, okay, cancel that. It was going to overstretch us. It does give you warnings like that when, because it takes a while for these things to kick in, so it's nice that it'll go, hey, actually this is going to put you in deficit. What was that? I'm going to annex Van Diemen's Land, okay. AKA Tasmania. I don't know what happens if you start off playing as one of those subjects and your overlord's like, right, we're going to fully integrate you, we're going to annex you. You're just stuffed at that point. Don't know. Can we... Does that increase our liquor output? Is that from the food industries? Pot stills, patent stills. So at the moment we're producing just groceries. We can produce a lot more liquor. We've been producing less groceries, but I don't know. We have a slight surplus of groceries at the moment. We'll leave that alone for now. But, you know, if we wanted to build a food industry in a state... The one downside of having things like this where it's like, okay, you can be food industry or you can be producing booze, as opposed to just having distilleries be a separate thing, is you can't say... It's like, okay, you have to have them in separate states. You can't, and I've only got limited, I've only got 2 states. So you can't have food production and a distillery in the same state, effectively. So it's a slight downside. But I'm sure there'll be mods that add a lot more granularity in terms of industry and buildings and things. Because sometimes people like all the extra complication. I mean, hell, when I play Hearts of Iron 4, I basically exclusively play it with the Black Ice mod these days. And I know that's not a lot of people's cup of tea because it just adds a whole lot of complexity. But personally, I much prefer that to the vanilla experience. But then, when I play Hearts of Iron 4, I mostly play with the ships. I just like building navies, goddammit. The vanilla experience is okay with Ban the Guns, but Yeah, the naval rework mod basically got folded into Black Ice. You can't play it NRM on the latest version. It's been quite a while since that's been updated as a separate mod. So yeah, you have to play Black Ice if you want the extra ship designing capabilities. Right, so that is the doobly-doo. That's the textile mill that's been built. And we are inputting fabric. So that's soaking up some of the... in fact, I'll probably go over that because we're still increasing the employment. And we're outputting clothes. And what we can do is we can... Now that would involve importing silk. But we can actually be then producing luxury clothes. But is that going to be worth it? We can produce just more clothes overall, but that would involve importing dyes, and we don't have... Let's try doing that for the time being, and outputting some luxury clothes as well as just normal clothes. So, silk. We actually do have the overhead to import some silk from Ching, and we can... Actually, I didn't even think of that, but we can now maybe export some things as well. We can export a slight profit to Brunei, but I think the fish might be a bit stinky by the time it gets to Brunei, to be honest. I wouldn't want to eat that fish. Furniture we could export to Brunei. We are producing... Yeah, how much are we producing? It would be nice to... If I click on that, it's just going to clear the screen. Because that's a bugged button at the moment. But yeah, I want to see the... production thing without having to go to the separate... We're producing 52, consuming 32. So we do actually have some to spare. So let's try sending some furniture to Brunei. Because we have all these convoys that we've just got sat around not really doing much. I think we're already exporting glass to Britain. We can afford one more route, so we just want to make sure it's a fairly profitable one. But I don't think any of these are really profitable enough. Luxury clothes to the Danish market. Extra 13, meat, paper, tools, wood. I'm not sure why it doesn't have that same, you know, the consumption production, you know, graph window thing that pops up from other screens. That would be nice. Let's hang on to, I mean, we could, no, let's just hang on to the extra little bit of bureaucratic cap there. Right, so we are, like, Britain's still buying glass themselves, and we're exporting a bit of furniture, which is taking up a fair number of convoys, but we're not really using convoys for much else, so that's fine. Right, we might want to at least increase military pay, because the military are not very happy with me. Let's go to low wages rather than very low. Well, hopefully we'll make the military faction a bit less mad. Wait, what's that? Western Australian peasant revolt. The Australians are revolting, you guys. Okay. I imagine they're going to get completely stomped. They can mobilise one probably conscript battalion. Britain has 100 battalions plus, you know, the entire Royal Navy, so they can easily do naval landings. Well, good luck with that. I don't think I've seen that before, but then this is only my third... well, technically fourth play. The emus, do you think it's the emus behind it? I mean, if it really is the emus, then Britain is doomed. I think that is dropping a little bit. That was a... Or is it going up? No, it is going down. No, it's sort of fluctuating. Okay, so it's not really going up or down. It's just sort of fluctuating around that point. Standard of living increased, so that's a good thing, right? Okay, psychiatry unlocked. Bureaucracy cost multiplier, so we'll be spending less bureaucracy on the per pop, basically. At least I think that's how that works. Right, so let's have a quick gander down the list. We are going to be expanding our glass output. Yeah. I could build we could build a food industry and set it purely to making liquor. Problem is there's not really an export market for that at the moment. That's purely just people wanting that themselves. We're way overproducing service needs apparently. Yeah, okay, let's take that down to market stalls because I think we're just producing way more service than we need. I mean, I think some surplus is good because lower costs mean that your pops are not having to pay as much kind of thing, but too much surplus is bad because then you have an unprofitable industry on your hand. So I'm not quite sure what the balance is, but there's certainly a balance to be found there. Right, so we could probably produce more clothes, but we would need more textiles. Groceries are fine. Paper we could maybe do with a little bit more. We actually have a deficit of transportation. We could build Highland Railway, or is that going to just cost too much versus the benefit? That might be a bit too radical to do just now. Coal, we could increase production of. Silk we're purely just importing. Right, so yeah, let's upgrade the coal mine. Or actually, do I just not even upgrade it, but to atmospheric engine pump. So we're producing more coal. Right, okay, I think that's fine. That's all in profit. Our iron mines are not. We're not really... Alright, we're producing a little bit. We don't have anything that's using iron at the moment, so they're just kind of surplus to requirements. But I can't remember if... do shipyards... So you can have them produce reinforced ships. That requires engines. I don't like... So I could build an engine industry and then have that filter through to the shipbuilding industry. I wonder if is that worth doing? What's the kind of like, is there any kind of export market from? Where are we? Engines. Oh, it won't tell you what the demand is from other countries, so I can't... That would be really useful if I could see what the demand is in other countries, but I can't. So I have no way of knowing whether I would be able to do any kind of exporting or not. Okay, game, I could really do with that information before I start making economic decisions, but I guess we'll just have to try it and see. We'll just have to give it a punt. And I hope I don't tank my economy horribly. Right, we could increase government wages slightly. The intelligentsia would like me a little more. And at some point, I think the next step will be, once we can afford it, or just once I've got more of a cushion, step down taxes a little bit. I mean, I think we should have paid off... There we go, we're actually now putting gold into our reserves. So if we do go negative again, we'll be taking out of our gold reserves rather than immediately going to loans, basically. So you've got that economic buffer. I think that's probably... like it's a much more straightforward system than Victoria 2. In terms of how that worked with like going into debt and loans and all that jazz. Anyway, I don't know how long I'm going to go for, by the way. Just, I don't know, as long as I feel like. Maybe another hour, maybe that would be a good cut-off point. Factories in the lowlands refusing to hire Irish people. Now this is an event I've had elsewhere, like if you have any kind of subset of sort of multinationalism going on, then like of other nationalities in your country, then you can get this kind of prejudicial sort of thing popping up. So you can say Scottish jobs for the Scottish! Or you can say, no, get stuffed, everyone's welcome. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, shipyards. Steadily getting towards that. We're actually in the negatives for... Did that happen? Growing pops, maybe? We might actually be in a position to build I think we probably are. Admin. Build an admin in the Highlands. No, buildings I want. That is the next thing. See how our little attempt at colonisation... Ah, ha, ha! Right, so... we can now say, hey, we want a port, and we want, say, a tea plantation, because we do have a slight demand for tea. So that's going to basically help that colony sort of get a bit of a kickstart in terms of its economics. Right, so we have a Scottish colony in Scottish Indonesia. Yes. Let's have a look at how Australia's doing actually. Right. Yeah, Western Australia has some troops, and Western Australia is kicking their ass, I think. Okay. Yeah, oh well. The criminals revolted or something. I don't know how you want to spin that.
Jedi.
Isham! With the resub, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm actually, I'm going to have this Saturday free, Isham, so I was going to message you anyway, but yes, we'll be able to... I downloaded Warhammer. Isham is one of my patrons, for those that don't know, so yeah. He's one of the top bracket patrons. So I can do some... Do the Warhammer Fantasy Orcs do war? I'm guessing they do. I'm guessing that's universal. That's not just the Space Orcs that enjoy a good bit of war. Nitroglycerin! Yeah, give it a good shake and see what happens. Right, we can actually use that to increase our coal output, if I remember correctly, but we really need a drastic... Is coal on this list? No, we are just about bang on the money as far as coal goes, so that's fine. The shipyards are nearly built. This should also free up a bit of money in terms of not having to pay quite so much, but importing both clippers and warships for our trade and our small navy. Let's see, we want urban and we want to look at shipyards. Right, so this should start to fill up. Civilian shipbuilding, we can... yeah, we'll go for military, so you're producing both clippers and... yeah, reinforced wooden ships. So we won't do that for now, but if we get engines going, we could do that. And then we'll be producing more clippers as well. So we're basically having to import less. We're having to buy less on the market. So this will have a sort of net positive effect on our income and our GDP as well. And it's also, of course, using up wooden fabric, so that's other parts of our economy that it's helping out, because it's yeah, we actually could do with building any... No, we could probably do with increasing logging camps as well. Unless there's some logging camps. Sawmills. No, we're still prioritising softwoods. No, okay, there's no kind of sort of efficiency upgrades. I could try the decreasing taxes thing, but we'll wait till the extra admin building is built, because that's just a money sink. So I want to see what impact that has first, the extra bureaucracy that gives me. Right, so the next thing up is government administration. We'll actually bump the port up to be... Actually, let's bump the port up to the top. So that's going to take 60 weeks. We might even... Actually, no, I don't think we can we? We can't change our anything at the moment. I keep forgetting you have to have at least one construction industry built before you can change construction methods, I think. Okay, that's gonna be 60 weeks. Right, okay. That was a good call to build that. Let's actually see what that's done to the prices of clippers and so we have sell orders 15. We still have more demand than we have sell orders for, but it's going to have a positive impact on the price, I'm hoping. Where are clippers? There are clippers. So we're producing slightly more clippers. That's fine. Right, so we're importing what we're currently doing, importing silk. Britain's still buying glass off us. Quinine! Right, it turns out we didn't actually need quinine. But that's fine. Useful to have anyway. Sewerage. Actually get more infrastructure from population. Maximum infrastructure from population. Yeah, let's hurry along sewerage. Right, well this is far more successful than my first attempt. Just simply from trying to rely on fixing the economy first, and then I don't know why Britain stepped in and was like, hey, we're going to help with your debt, but I guess that's just because Britain was like, they had friendly relations towards me and they're feeling protective of me, so they're not likely to just be like, hey, I'm going to invade, which is a relief. Right, so we're just building this port as our next thing, so that's going to connect this with our sea lanes, and it'll also provide more convoy capacity, and it might even increase clipper demand. Oh, Monument to the King. Yes. Obviously we'll have a Monument to the King. Obviously we will. Right, travel by train across the lowlands to campaign. Sure. Although it's going to give me stressed rail network for 2 years, that feels like a bit of a harsh thing, but sure, let's see what happens as a result of that. Okay, yeah, they are largely unhappy with me. Don't know if there's any laws we could get going at the moment. I mean, private schools, public schools. The devout won't like it, but the intelligentsia and the industrialists will. Okay, let's go to private schools as a step up from religious schools. It's our next big kind of law change. This is another thing that I think is an improvement over Victoria 2, because Victoria 2 required a lot of finagling with you almost had to provoke your pops to increase their consciousness level. There was a whole complicated thing in order to get the right party that you wanted in to enact a particular policy. There was no one party where you could go, right, I want to do this policy, this policy, and this policy. No, you have to be kind of continually swapping types of government to get what you wanted. But the kind of the general trend was supposed to be would start off with more sort of politically and economically conservative parties to have more of a direct hand on the economy, and then gradually try and transition to more kind of sort of liberal free market parties in order to sort of gradually democratize. You don't have to do that, of course, but that if you didn't do that, then there was a lot of sort of changes to your country that you could not make, essentially. So they've not kind of locked that away in the same manner as they have here, which is a good thing. I think it makes it a lot more accessible overall, instead of having to try and untangle all the different layers of interlocking relationships that were going on between the different various mechanics. Right, we don't have any steel yet. We could go straight for dynamite, because at the moment we can use... we don't have a lot in the way of mining. I think we've got one coal mine. We can use nitroglycerine explosives, but it drastically increases the mortality rate of your miners. We could also go with food fertilizers, steam donkey, water tube boiler. Let's go with water tube boiler. Let's go with that as our next tech. Let's see how we get on. Right, so once we've... Oh, well, whatever that was, it resolved itself very quickly. Okay, it seems to do... I think it does like a monthly... check of like at the start of every month. It's like, well, here's the significant changes in market price, and that can obviously have an adjustment on things. Right, so the Liberal Party won with a big chunk of the votes, and they are currently having, but any of the minor factions we can bring in. That actually decreases. How about that? No, they both decrease. We could have a kind of coalition government for a massive increase in legitimacy, but they're both not particularly happy with me. And I can't do that because the devout are angry at me. They don't like me very much, because they're the super traditionalists. So we're just going to continue on with the Liberal Party as we have it at the moment. So that's fine then. Stockpiling gold. Oh, okay. So we've actually hit our cap. There is a cap for how much you have, and then it's sort of almost diminishing returns by that point. So once you've filled up your gold reserves, you almost actually want to start decreasing your income, which sounds a bit wacky, but yeah, as it'll warn you. Stockpiling gold extracts money from your economy and pop at diminishing returns, leading to reductions in wealth over time. So if you're like having a really strong positive balance over time, and like, I don't know precisely why they've done it this way, like what this mechanic is supposed to, like, I presume it's a sort of economic balancing mechanic to stop things from getting too out of hand too quickly, and to sort of implement a law of diminishing returns if you have a super wealthy economy. But yeah, I don't know. It probably is just an economic balancing measure. I mean, Victoria 2 was like the whole economy simulation side was a bit of a black box, and I think it was largely programmed by one person, and I don't know if it was particularly adequately notated or documented or whatever, but yeah, apparently that was something they found very hard to go back in and do anything with later down the line. So, yeah, you can end up just playing Victoria 2 normally and having the economy doing completely stupendously wacky things. Which is something... Well, I think that's one of the reasons why they resisted doing a Victoria 3 for so very long, was the whole... the thought of having to either take what was in Victoria 2 and somehow make it work in another game, or else just start from scratch, was obviously a very daunting prospect, and clearly they went with sort of based on Victoria 2, but with fewer goods, and obviously the market's operating a little bit differently. I mean, the fact that the markets are a lot more regionalised is certainly a big difference from Victoria 2. Instead of everything just being one great big global lump for the most part. Anyway, right, what was I doing? Oh, yes, so we were going to look at decreasing taxes, and we'll see... We can always put that back up again, but we'll see what happens once we've built the bureaucracy, whatnot. We might at some point start... it's going to be expensive to start properly funding the military as well. But we might want to do that at some point. Like, actually increasing sort of professionalism of the Navy is relatively cheap. But funding our army regiments, not so much. That's going to be a much more expensive proposition. Right, so let's... Oh well, we're looking at... okay, so we've got the port built. And that is not really going to make us any money, but it provides a link. So that's now not a disconnected sort of far-off place. That now has a port where it does actually, I think, increase our overall available convoys. So there you go, 119 from the port in the Scottish Celebes. And then at some point they're going to build a tea plantation. And it's going to produce tea. And our pubs don't want a huge amount of tea, but they do want some tea, and it's a really expensive import from elsewhere at the moment. So this is part of the Scottish market, even though it's all the way over here. Which we should be able to see if we go to trade lens. So that's part of its own, I think, market. And that's part of the Scottish market, so there we go. So it seems a bit wacky having Scottish tea colonies, but that's what we're doing. So we can make tea and coffee, and actually dyes as well. There are things that we can do with dyes that we don't want to do at the moment because it's going to be overly expensive. But if we're reducing our dyes, our own dyes within the market, then yeah. But the only thing is we might not actually have the population for that at the moment. It will grow as the colony spreads outwards. You can only have one sort of expansion area at a time. You can have expansion areas in multiple different regions going at the same time. So that's fine. I could be like plopping down colonies over here and over here and over here and over here, and that would take ages to do, but I'm really only interested in getting this one area. Just for the tea, basically. Yeah, you can't have multiples going in on the same area. It's just the higher the bureaucracy investment you have into the colonization ideas, it speeds things up. But I think just also being so far away, it's taking quite a long time. Oh yeah, malaria. Malaria is a thing as well. So malaria is having that 90% malus. Anyway, so we've had a pop-up about trying to get private schools through, so we can bump up the attraction to the industrialist group. We can get... Scotland gets renowned playwright for... Oh, 20 prestige is quite a lot. That's actually... I might take that. Like, we can get bump to the success chance, because at the moment that's only 25% per checkpoint. I don't know if that's like a per year thing. It's almost like the siege mechanic in CK3 and EU, where it kind of goes through the checkpoint stages. I think they've patterned it after that almost. But yeah, no, let's go for the playwright. That's plus 20 prestige. That's a big bonus. There we go. Gone from 40 odd to... Oh no! Not 66! Oh no! Sorry, I'm having flashbacks. Horrible, horrible flashbacks. Anyway, it was a dark time. I don't want to talk about it. We're actually, like, ranked 22nd in the world overall at the moment. There isn't really the primary power, secondary power that there was in Vic 2, which was a bit of a mixed bag. There were a lot of mechanics that were locked behind either being a primary power or a secondary power that made lots of places in the world just completely uninteresting to play. So that's another big improvement with Victoria 3, but there are still, like, great powers and whatever. So if I look at, say, France, yeah, they are ranked as a great power, which has all kinds of bonuses. But I don't know if there's like a list somewhere. There's no ledger, I don't think. I mean, you've got various bits of information you can bring up, but I don't think there is a ledger anywhere. But we do have various things that... I've actually kind of been ignoring the journal. So you can have various things that you can trigger as you're going along. So if I build another railroad, for example, I can get the event Railroad Boom, but it doesn't tell me what the event is going to actually do. But that's something I'm considering doing at some point, is having Highland Railroads. It's just not really needed at the moment. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're building government administration now, so that's fine. Bureaucracy cap up a bit higher. Canneries! Right, that's going to give a boost to food things. We can actually do another declared interest. Where do we want to declare an interest? I have no idea. I mean, it means that you can have further interactions in an area where you declare an interest. So if I say I want to declare an interest in the Rhine, for example, I think that opens up diplomatic actions, trading opportunities. I'm not 100% sure. It's one of those things where... Right, let's try that. And see what that brings up. We can also... We could try and plop down a colony here, but is it do we want to... I don't think... I'm not trying to be a major colonizing power, really. I just would like an area where I can produce goods that I can't produce at home. Scottish Indonesia! Yep. It's going to be a thing. Anyway. How are we doing? How are we doing? Let's take a look at the market. We've not looked at the market for a little bit. They're still getting a decent amount of glass from us, so we could... Yeah, glassworks was the next thing on the queue, so that's fine. We could do with more wood. Still do with more liquor. I don't know if there's enough of a demand there to justify building another food industry just for liquor. Tea we're going to have going at some point. Could maybe increase our shipyard level, actually. That might be worth doing. What else is there demand for? More tools as well, so we do increase our tooling workshops. We could actually switch back to pig iron tools. And that's gonna... Now, we are producing iron. But... okay, because we weren't... There was no real demand for iron, there was just no... Okay, so let's actually decrease that. That's going to have a temporary negative effect on the production there, because we're demanding iron, and the iron mines are having to ramp up production, essentially. Okay, so that's fine. We can actually increase our tools output a little bit that way. Textile mills we could probably increase as well. Okay, let's do that. And oh yeah, we were going to look at our cannery, weren't we? Food industry. So we've got canning as a thing. Canneries consume iron, less grain but more fish. I mean, we certainly have oodles of fish. Let's try it. Although we are actually we don't actually maybe need that. I think that's actually we would be producing more. We're already producing more groceries than we need, so yeah, actually no, we don't need that at the moment. We're sort of just about at equilibrium. Okay, so that's there as an option as we need more groceries. Right, more discipline in new private schools has been raised by armed forces. Focus on the curriculum. What are the current armed forces a part of the... they're currently neutral. The Conservative Party overall doesn't like me. But that will give me plus 15% enactment time. But that's... I'll take it. I'll take extra time to enact this. Oh, hello. Large numbers of Scottish people have been emigrating to Ireland. Oh, okay. Austria's demanding we become a subject. Huh? What? Decline? Why, Austria? I don't know. Right, somebody wants to duel somebody else. Sure. Have fun. I don't get that. Why did Austria think I would accept that? That's kind of out of the blue. It wasn't really any overtures or anything. Oh, we're actually having strong migration. So some are going to Scottish Celebes, but there's a whole bunch of people going to Ireland for some reason. I wonder if it's, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to set out to bring up standards of living, to be honest. It might help if I were to, say, drop the clothing tax. But that does give us a huge boost of revenue. Yeah, what could we... Right, we could replace that with a liquor tax. That might... That might be... That might improve people's standard of living if there's less of a... You know, if clothes aren't so heavily taxed. So let's go with liquor. Oldenburg wishes to enter a defensive pact. Interesting. Maybe I've just grown to a level where people are like, hey, you're worth noticing. I'm going to decline, though. I do have a bit of a navy, but Oldenburg at some point will get steamrolled by Prussia, so I don't really want to get in the way of that. Right, okay. We might have to put taxes back up. Or maybe I don't for a bit. Maybe I just let it be in the red for a little bit and then put it back up later on. Or just let it be much more of a marginal thing. Right, paper. Oh, particularly short of paper. Yes, okay, so we need to up our paper industry as well. Which I think was in the Highlands, yes. This is where being able to parallelize things would be quite nice. Right, so here we go. We've expanded a bit, so the population available to be workers will have expanded a bit. So let's get a dye plantation put up. And see how we go. I don't think there's anything else we want to put there for the time being. You can, I keep scrolling in and out, which is like fine, you can do that, but you can also just hit the tab button and you just click and it'll go, zoom in and where you want it to. It's quite a nice feature. I need to remember that that's there. Right. Paper input, stockpile of gold. Yes, so we could temporarily import some paper. Which is less expensive. Like getting a specific import is less expensive than just kind of paying the market import rate. Which I don't know how it pulls the number out for that, but I don't know if it's just kind of like a separate global pool for when you're sort of generically importing things as opposed to specifically importing things. I don't know. Yet another question mark. Anyway, I have a little bit more overhead now that we've got the government administration going up here in the Highlands. Yay! We don't have private schools. Rifling unlocked. That's another tech. We're actually almost done with water tube boilers as well. Okay. We're almost at 1848, which was quite a... like a lot of stuff happened in 1848 in real life, but sadly there's no wave of sort of... I don't even know how to describe it, but various countries had various like revolts and uprisings and popular movements and things that sort of all happened around then. I don't think the game really kind of tries to model that in any way. Right, Bessemer process is working away on its own. Chemical bleaching. Mechanized workshops, maybe? Mutual funds might be quite useful, plus 10% minting. And let's go with ID documents. An increase to taxation capacity. Right, we might have enough to increase military wages. I'm not really doing much diplomatically. I'm kind of ignoring that side for the time being. There's probably millions of wasted opportunities. You know, things I could be doing, like because I've put my area of interest over here, for example. Are there interactions I could be having with other countries? I don't know. Okay, if you click on the capital, the flag, okay, that takes you straight to that. I mean, we could start. We could try and force regime change in. I don't know. Let's just so I'm doing something. Let's increase relations with Sweden. Actually, in one of the other games I played, Sweden and Norway became Scandinavia. So that's obviously I don't know, some kind of event or something that can be worked towards. Scandinavia will pop out. Right, construction, where are we at? Glassworks, then we have paper mills, and then we have tea plantations, so that's probably fine. I might... Right, what is the... Oh, export. What is the export market like for liquor? If I produce more liquor, I might take a chance and build another... where are we? Food industries, and dedicate it to just like booze, basically. Disagreements between the petty bourgeoisie and the intelligentsia are causing conflicts in government. Right, so they're both loyal, both about equal in terms of their influence. So we can basically get a -2 to either one of those, or we can take a hit to our authority, -25%, but I don't. Does it really matter who we annoy? Let's go with annoy the industrialists. Not industrialists, the... the intelligentsia, because they are... they have the highest, so we can, you know, like 2 doesn't really change anything. Taking a hit of 2 favour. Right, Hamburg. We're getting a lot of defensive pacts from North Germany for some reason. Not sure why. Well, 2. 2 is a lot compared to 0. Two is definitely a lot compared to 0. I don't know much maths, but I know that much. Let's do stockpiling gold. I wish I know we're stockpiling gold. You don't have to like continuously inform me of that. Bremen wishes to... No, thank you. I don't want to be in a war with Prussia at some point. I just don't. Tell you one thing we can do actually. Let's increase law enforcement to... should we go level 4? We can maybe even increase colonial. And it'll warn me if that's going to suck too much bureaucratic cap. Bremen wishes to enter... No, look, Bremen. It's very sweet of you, but where are you? Isn't Bremen, like, tiny? I mean, if you wanted... I'm sure if you wanted a real challenge, you could... yeah, there we go, there's Bremen. You could play as, like, Lübeck or... Like, there is... I don't think there's an overlay... Is there an overlay to see all the... Yeah, so there we go. Prussia. Prussia's got its own market. Austria's got its own market. You've got this kind of Hanoverian market, Dutch market, but... And then you've got Lübeck. tiny little Lubeck has its own market. Markets seem to be one of the big things in terms of sort of driving difficulty and trying to make sure you have a positive economy. And being in a tiny closed-off market like that, I don't know how you change that. So that's like, maybe there are ways that I just don't know about. Hamburg wishes to enter. No, I don't want an alliance with Hamburg. I don't. Right, let's queue up a railway for the Highlands. Oh, it's probably just stockpiling gold. Glassworks is nearly built, which will be welcome. Irish migration to Washington, and apparently that's Columbia District. Apparently that's all Canadian at the moment. Okay, I'm not sure why it was telling me that, unless it's meaning... Oh, I guess it means my Irish population. So if I look at my population tabs where we can see... There we go. So we've got 3 groups. We've got Scottish, Irish, and we now have Moluccan as well because we've started colonising there. So yeah. Actually, I wonder if there's any laws we can finagle. Like, actually from the government screen. No, I thought you could. I thought you could say, hey, you can... I think... Is it... Yeah, okay, if you have to click the Reform Government button to see what laws you can sort of listed in one place. Whereas otherwise it's kind of like... I mean, it does tell you, but it doesn't... It's not maybe the most useful. So at the moment we have national supremacy going, which is wildly unpopular. We maybe go for multiculturalism. The petty bourgeoisie will not like it, but the landowners, the industrialists, the devout will all quite like it. So let's go with multiculturalism. Bureaucratic shortfall. Okay, so we're going to maybe just go for level 3 law enforcement rather than level 4 law enforcement and see how we do with that. Is that still... I could build more admin capacity in the lowlands. Taxation capacity. That would give me more taxation capacity. What? I mean, what is the... Where do I see taxation capacity? Not sure. Oh no, there we go. So that would cost me some, but it might be worth it. Don't know. You actually also have the option to increase iron mine production, but that's definitely... We're not really a big producer of iron. I might get some steel going at some point. I don't think we really need steel at the moment. Am I better off building it over here because it will then give local taxation capacity, but we won't, while we're still in the colonization phase, I don't think you get taxes anyway, so I don't think it's probably worth it. Yeah, okay, let's just stick with building it in the lowlands then. Right, so we have 2 event pop-ups here. So what have we got? The play for power. Leader of the landowners has made a remarkable play for power in the capital in order to secure spot landowners within the government. So we could potentially... Are the landowners... they're currently only +5. What happens if we do that? I don't know. We're actually now... I'm not sure. They're neutral. Okay. The other thing was organised crime. Put some funds into stamping out. We do actually have the money to do that, so that's fine. I didn't see what tech that was that popped up, but that was one that's... Highlands is in turmoil. Right, I'm not very good at tackling turmoil, apparently. Okay, we're... Okay. We don't have a lot of excess bureaucracy, but hopefully we'll get more. A Liberal Party by a landslide, so let's take a look at politics. Legitimacy is not that high, but the bourgeoisie are not happy with me, so... Can we... No, that's gonna... That'll be a slight increase. It'd be nice if it tell you without having to... 69, shall we... Wants to join the Liberal Party, interesting. Oh, we can't make any changes at the moment because the bourgeoisie are angry with me. Oh well. Right, so that's just that multiculturalism. Right, so they're not going to like that very much, but everyone else is fairly happy with it. Hopefully we can repair relations with them over time. Get rid of that. Okay. So yeah, that's our kind of major problem at the moment, is we have this sort of relatively high level of unrest, but I don't know what happens as a result of that. I'm almost tempted to just let it... Well, I don't really know how to tackle it effectively, but I'm also sort of tempted to let it be to see what comes of it. The only sort of active measure I know how to take at the moment is increasing the law enforcement institution. But yeah, hydraulic cranes unlocked, max port level +1. Okay. Right, I need to keep remembering we've got that as an option, and it's fine. It's probably easier. Right, we actually have a fair number of people migrating. A couple of thousand Scots have already moved there, and some Irish as well. This is proving to be quite an interesting playthrough so far. I think I will wrap this up fairly soon though. I've been going for nearly 4 hours. I don't know why you're telling me about this peace treaty, but okay. I'm not entirely sure. Mechanised workshops. Right, we might be able to do something interesting with that. Textile mills, for instance. Recognize looms. Okay. Well, also, once we get some dye production, we'll be able to actually move to dye workshops or even just straight onto sewing machines. So that's fine. Glassworks. We'd have to import lead. We don't really have the ability to do that at the moment. Do we need more tools? How are we doing for tools? Oh. No, we're okay for tools at the moment. But once we build motor industries, we'll probably need more tools. That will also start using up some iron. Paper mills. Now, paper we do need more. Why should you know that saying? Sell orders 107. Okay, so we can leave that alone for the moment. So do we even need more paper mills? I thought we did need more paper, but I guess I was wrong. We probably did at some point. Coal mines. Can we make coal mine improvements? Yes, we can probably do that. I think we'll leave nitroglycerin alone for the moment because that will involve buying explosives. We're not producing any explosives, so that would be yet another industry we would have to sort of get going, as it were. So there we go. We're now producing a little bit more than we need to consume at maximum, so that's fine. I might even think about adjusting. Let's put government wages back up to medium. We're still, I don't know why I clicked away that, I was still well over our cap. There are things that will increase your gold reserves over time. I think gold reserves go up as your GDP goes up as well. Your max possible gold reserves. Okay. So tea plantations are going to come online next. Motor industries and maybe the railway? I do wish you could click and drag to put things where you want them, because this radio button method is a little bit clunky. That's actually a feature of Hearts of Iron 4's interface. I'm not sure why they didn't copy that over. Hey, friendly wombat. Yeah, I've been going for a couple of hours. I'm actually fairly close to wrapping this up. This is my second attempt at releasing Scotland and then playing as Scotland. The first attempt did not go well, but more from an economic sense. This time I was able to focus a bit better at the very start and try and do what was needed to stabilise things. And even then, we still ended up in debt. It was England coming along and buying up our national debt or our debt obligations that really stabilised things. They haven't called in that obligation yet. I don't know. I don't know if they ever will at this point, but we still have, I think, pretty good relations with Britain. Yeah, amicable, plus 50. So, yeah. Large numbers of Scots have been migrating to Tasmania. We have a lot of people just migrating out of the country overall. Although we seem to have positive migration at the moment. Oh, the Spanish Philippines were apparently improving relations with me. Okay. Right. A troop of wandering artists has arrived at the lowlands. I could fund a concert, but plus 400... I think some of these are a bit excessive. It's like, okay, that's nice. Plus 10% prestige for 10 years. That'll give me another 8 prestige, but... or I could actually take a hit to prestige, but plus 400 expenses for 5 years seems a bit excessive. I mean, we'll do it. But why is it for 5 years? Why is it costing us that much for a period of 5 years to do one series of concerts? That seems a bit silly. That seems a bit excessive. Oh, hello. Diplomatic play in Indonesia. Oh, I see. Right, so because this is happening in an area where are we? This is... France is making a play. So we might not end up with a very big colony if France just comes in and decides to steamroll Celebes, then that would be that. I mean, I could take aggressive action against them myself, but our military is completely underfunded. So, yeah, we're probably going to have to just, like, declare neutrality. Can we... Do I even have the option of doing anything? Oh, I see. Right, on this page. So I can either... Diplomatic maneuvers... Okay, so we can sort of lean towards France. Oh, they want to puppet. Okay, so I would have France as a colonial neighbour kind of thing. Or I could just full on declare neutrality and say, hey, I'm not that interested. I will declare leaning towards France. And see what that does. Because you know, this is all new to me, so I'm just sort of doing random things and seeing what they do. So I don't really know at the moment. Still learning my way around this game. High tensions between Scotland and Sulawesi. Yeah, they don't like that I've supported France. Unsurprisingly, which I think because this is going on, the active colonising efforts are sort of curtailed, and this is why this has popped up. But we don't have any troops there. I mean, we don't have really troops anywhere. So, yeah, we would have to build a barracks. Which would be... I don't know. Don't know if that would be worth doing. I don't know if it would cost me that much. I might do it just so I have some defensive capability there. Right, tea plantations. Unable to fully hire. Okay. Like that would... Like, we don't actually have enough... Oh, we don't have any trains here. We don't have... I think enough transport capability, but for some reason that would still increase the... Oh, I don't know. Anyway, so we're now producing tea on our market. Not a huge amount, but that should go up a little bit. Our biggest deficit's still wood. We do have lumber camps on the way. Oh! Okay, apparently France just was like, yeah, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. So we're back to colonising. Oh, okay, well, that was a bit of a damp squid. Or possibly a damp squib. Buy narrowboats, not a thing, sadly. We could do like the Dutch and build canals all through Indonesia. But, yeah, not an option, sadly. Anyway, I think we're coming towards the end of this, so I will save this and I guess find someone to host. I don't know who's going to be playing at this time, but yeah. We'll see. We'll see who's doing what. Someone's bound to be doing warships. And this will all go up on YouTube as well for anyone that's wondering. We'll be able to see any bits that you might have missed. My failed first attempt at Scotland. Let's see. Stats Bloke is having a go at Timberborn. Colony building game. Warships. Who's doing warships? Nobody I really recognise, but then it is getting to be fairly late, so I'm guessing these are all the... are these NA people or just really late playing EU people? Anyway, let's just host Stats Bloke or raid Stats Bloke, I guess. So, yeah, hopefully those of you that have been, watching and, it's like, I've still a lot to learn about this game, but, if you were wondering about Victoria 2 yourself, you might have gotten a bit more of a flavour of it. I've been playing. This is more of a tall campaign. I'm doing a bit of colonising, but yeah, there are certainly far more active countries that you can play as. That was kind of always the thing in the Victoria series, is the great powers can generally swing their dicks around a lot more than the tiddly little ones in this sort of era of nationalism and colonialism. So yeah, I will definitely be exploring this game a bit more. I might even continue on with this save on another stream. We'll see how I feel, because for those that that follow me on like Patreon and Twitter, you'll know I've not been feeling that great recently. There's been some family stuff going on. I won't really go into that, but yeah, there's been stuff beyond the normal stuff, if I can put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, I will put you in the capable hands of Stats Bloke, who's playing a game that actually I've watched other people play as well. Timberborn's kind of a beaver-themed colony game, and yeah, you can see how he's getting on with that. So that's it from me tonight. Hopefully you're okay, all wherever you are. You're all having a good evening, and I will catch you next time.